Hi everyone, if you want to know the story of my spiritual awakening, which is filled with so many weird things and wonderful things, stay tuned. So, welcome to Esoteria Healing, a channel for spiritual growth, learning, freedom, and fulfillment. My name is Rio Kashyap, and I am here today to share my story of spiritual awakening. So, if you watched my previous videos, you know that I have always had these psychic experiences and paranormal experiences all my life, but I kept ignoring them up to a point where my life felt quite miserable and I didn't know what I was going to do and how I was going to do it. And I had very big aspirations, and I finished my post graduation in 2017, and I was going into a completely different direction than what I was supposed to do, and that is why I was literally slapped by the universe. I was shook by the universe to actually wake up to the reality and see myself for who I am and accept it and embark on this journey to learn and also teach others about spiritual growth. During my whole time in my college from 2015 to 17, you can say, I was going through many heartbreaks related to friendships and all of those things, and I was trying to actually find myself about who I actually am and what am I here to do, even though I know that I was quite far ahead in my journey to become a prosthodontist. But a series of wrongdoings led me to see that I was actually allowing people to walk all over myself. There was lack of self-love on both sides, and that caused a lot of hurt, and I became tired of all this. And then one day I decided that I will not allow anyone to behave like this with me, and I made a set of rules that everyone needs to check if they need to stay in my life and if they need to enter my life. So with that set of rules, I went to bed one day, and when I woke up, I had this newfound sense of self-love. I always say that it takes a lot of time to actually develop self-love and be able to love yourself unconditionally and set those boundaries and all of those things. But for me, it happened in just one day, and I might be the exception. Now, this doesn't happen with everyone, but I just woke up one day and I was my own best friend, and I wanted to shower myself with love and care and all of those things that people were not able to provide me. I wanted to provide myself. So in order to set the stage for this story, I will just move back 1 year, 2016. I had a dream at night where I saw that my grandfather, he had passed away, and in the dream, and I saw him sitting in the chair. And when I enter his house, my grandparents' house, I see that he's just sitting in the chair, but in the dream I knew that he is no more. So I am startled, seeing him sitting there, and I just ask him, what are you doing here? Aren't you supposed to, go? And his soul basically says to me that yes, I am dead and I'm supposed to go, but your nani, your grandmother, won't be able to bear my absence. So I'm just sitting here for her, just showing her that I'm still here, and I'll go when she is ready, when she understands. But right now I'm here. So I just see that, and then the dream ends. And that was a very realistic dream. There is a difference between an actual vision and just a dream. An actual vision seems something different from a regular dream. I don't know how to explain it, but it just feels different. It's not like a regular dream that you see. I wrote a journal, so I opened my journal and I wrote the same thing in the journal, that I saw this dream. But of course, I don't want to believe in this because my grandfather is still alive and I loved him so much. So I forgot about it. Fast forward next year, around the same time I had the dream, at the end of May. At that time, my grandfather fell very ill, and he was in the hospital. And at the same time, I had gone to a trip to Kerala with my friends, and I was enjoying my time there. But suddenly I feel like an emotional energy just envelop me. And I have talked about this before as well. That was something I had never experienced before. It was like a loving being who is hugging me, and there was all this unconditional love inside me and around me, and it made me become very emotional. And I was feeling a sense of, farewell, that someone is telling me that I love you so much and I'm going away for now, but I'll be there for you, something like that. Even now I'm getting emotional thinking about that feeling. I ended up bursting out in tears in front of everybody, and I kept crying for a day or two. And I was on a trip and I didn't want to, spoil the trip for others. So I came back to my hostel and I fell asleep. But when I woke up in the morning, I received a message that my grandfather was no more. So this is me in Kerala, and my grandfather was in Chandigarh. So that was around 2000 kilometers of the gap, and nobody had told me that this was happening. So I figured that his soul had come to me to say goodbye at that moment when he was leaving. And that experience actually shook me, woke me up to the slumber I was in, spiritual slumber that I was in. And I just stopped there in my life for a few moments to think about what just happened. Anyway, then I had my final exams and I got busy in that. But after finishing my exams, I was free. I had nothing else to do but to think about this incident. But suddenly I start having this very vivid dreams, and I have always had vivid dreams, but these were something else. These were on a next level altogether. Every night in my dreams, I was someone else, living in someone else's body, having their name, and knowing their past, present and future as well. Because every single night I was someone else, all this information was becoming too much for me to handle. And I thought at that time that this is my creative inspiration to write stories, because I have always been a writer, and I thought that maybe this is how every novelist gets their inspiration, their stories, it gets channeled from somewhere. So I sat down and wrote all of those stories, and they were a big hit in my small little audience that I had, and I went on with it. And later that month, when I was outside, I suddenly had an impulse to have a tattoo. So usually I don't take impulsive decisions, but at that time it was like something inside me was like insisting upon it. Rio, go and have a tattoo. So I got a recommendation for a tattoo parlor right there and then from my friend, and I went into that tattoo parlor right away. So I knew what I had to get. It was a hummingbird, and I went there and I finalized the design and I started getting the tattoo. So as I was getting the tattoo, there was another person sitting in the same room getting his tattoo done. He was a Punjabi, he was a Sikh, and all the time he just felt really weird to me. And I was sitting with my back to his side, but still I was aware of him during the whole time I was having my tattoo. So something inside me was telling me to talk to him, but then me being the introvert that I am, I did not talk to him. And as soon as I finished my tattoo, I just stood up and started to pack my bag. He stopped me and he suddenly started narrating my whole life to me. Starting from my childhood, he was narrating every single thing that happened one by one, positive and negative. And I just stood there like this looking at him. Obviously I was very, very surprised, although not in a good way, because I didn't like that he was just reading my mind or energies or whatever without any permission from me. And then he proceeded to tell me my emotions at that time that I had, all that past heartbreak and all that. At that time when I was in the tattoo parlor, I was okay. I was not indulging myself into those feelings anymore, but still he told me that yes, you are feeling these things. And I thought that okay, he might be a psychic and he now needs fees from me. So I asked him, what is your fees? And I told him that I didn't ask for a reading, by the way, but okay, what is your fees? And then he said, I don't want any fees from you. I do this for good karma. And in my mind, I was thinking it's not good karma to do it without permission. But anyway, as I was getting scared and running all these thoughts through my mind, he actually came to know every single thing that I was thinking. He then proceeded to reply to whatever I was thinking in my mind. And that is the moment when I got very scared, and I was starting to leave when he told me that don't worry, you will meet the love of your life in the next 6 months, and you will get married in 6 months, in exactly 6 months. And I was like, what? I didn't believe him one bit, and I ran from there. And then I wanted to look for a job in Bangalore because I wanted to settle over there. I really loved Bangalore. So I started looking for jobs everywhere, and I did that for a month or two, and there was no progress at all. But I decided that I will live there for a few months and I will try to make it work, because I believe that I'm meant to stay in Bangalore, because I was finding it very pleasant over there. But what happened was my mind started becoming numb. So the spiritual downloads were still happening, and my mind started going numb, so much so that I wasn't able to think anything for myself. I wasn't able to wake up, and take a bath or even feed myself. And that is when I thought that no, this is going very bad. It wasn't depression or anything, but it was something that was causing me to not be able to think anything. Although I was eating good and everything, it still happened. So I thought, okay, I need to go home ASAP. So there was only a minuscule amount of brain power left, that I could only book a train ticket. And surprisingly, I got a train ticket for the same day. That doesn't happen. I got it for the same evening, and I just packed my bags and left. And as soon as I was in the train, settled down, that feeling of awareness came back. So suddenly the kind of brain fog that was there, it just lifted, and I was once again in my own awareness. And that was something weird. I thought, okay, maybe I'm not supposed to live in Bangalore anymore. So I went home, and the day I reached home, everything came together. It was like several timelines had collapsed. Several people who had actually broken my heart in the past, they texted me to apologize and to reconcile and all those things. And I got a job offer in Bangalore, which I did not accept at that time. And then I also got a call that I was selected to learn past life regression, because I had applied for it. Because somewhere in my intuition, I had figured that all those stories that I was seeing, those were my past lives, and I wanted to know more about it. I was still skeptical, and the best thing to approve or disapprove something is to actually go learn it, right? I had applied for it even before, 1 or 2 years before, but I wasn't selected at that time because maybe I wasn't ready. But this time I was ready, and I passed the interview, and I was selected out of 500 people, and we were around 15 to 17 people that were selected, and they were calling me to Bangalore again in December. That was 6 months after that time. I was very excited, and they gave me assignments and all, and I completed them. I went back to Bangalore for this class. When I was there, I met a lot of people, doctors, engineers, psychologists, IS officers, you name it, all kinds of people were there, and all of them shared all those experiences that I also had in my childhood and presently. Listening to their stories, I felt validated. I felt that yes, I am not mad, I am not hallucinating, because up until that time I kept thinking that maybe I'm hallucinating, maybe I have schizophrenia, who knows, But when I heard all those people telling about their experiences, it was the same as mine. And that 1 week of learning was one of the best days of my life. We were able to do past life regressions, and we got past life regressions done on us. And again, during my past life regression, all those same stories came up, and I will make another video about the whole experience learning past life regression at Amaranthos, Bangalore. Not just those past life experiences, but there were some other experiences also that were related to higher beings, divine beings, that happened to me during that time, and I came back a completely changed person. And I actually wanted to learn past life to heal my parents, especially my dad, because he was going through a lot of medical problems. He was a doctor himself, but he couldn't do anything about his own illness, and that's a common thing to happen. So since he tried everything medically, I wanted to try something else, and I was sure after attending this class that yes, his problems come from past lives, and I was very excited to help him. But Kismet had something else for me in store. So whenever you take up something for your spiritual growth, you will go through a number of stages. If you want to know what are those stages, I will put a link to my book about spiritual awakening in the description when it's ready. And I still had to go through the healing trench phase of my spiritual awakening. So all these events that happened until that time, they were just the beginning of my awakening. Although my awakening had already kind of happened in the past, because I knew all these things were happening to me, but this was the cornerstone, or you can say the turning point of my life. And after this past life regression class, I met my husband, and he was my friend at that time, and it was an instant recognition. The day we met each other, it was like we just knew that we knew each other from the past, and we just knew that we had to be together. And we got married within 20 days, although we didn't want to. We wanted to wait 2 years or so, but again, some things in life you cannot control, and things just happened, and kismat, or you can say fate, just pushed us into that direction, and my life turned completely upside down. That was one of the lowest times of my life, because everyone I knew had completely rejected me after I learned this, and I expected that I will go back and help my family and help everyone around me, but the opposite of that happened. All of those people who I was trying to help, they just rejected me like anything, and I sunk to the rock bottom of my life for the next 2.5 years. During whole of those 2.5 years, I was in the healing trench phase of my life. Again, if you want to know the phases, you can get the book. And during that phase, I had the background of spiritual knowledge. I knew why all of that was happening, and I knew why all of those people were behaving in the way that they did. And I took that time to just lay back, rest and lie low, and not to do anything outwardly in nature, and just take this time to move inwards and to heal myself. It was in 2018 I decided to learn Reiki. Then Reiki helped me to again take the next step in my healing, and it just helped me to remove everything that was negative and clean everything up, clean my aura and my life, and then take up everything that was positive. So that enabled me to get a permanent residence visa for Canada, and we moved to Canada in 2019, at the end of 2019. And since we came here, obviously we are surrounded by positivity, and we are not surrounded by all that negativity anymore, and we are on our own. But when we came here, everything just happened on its own. We were divinely guided for each and everything, but also we paid attention to our inner compass. Everything has been working out for us, and everything just going smoothly. And those things that are not going smoothly, of course, we need to take the next step in our growth, especially spiritual growth, in order to take the next step in our life. So my spiritual journey is still going on. It is obviously a never ending journey. It's not like you reach a place and then it's over. There is no destination in spiritual growth. I have grown so much over the last few years. I have even grown so much as compared to the previous month itself. If you want to have all your spiritual growth basics clear, I have a course for you. My course is called the Reclaim Your Life, the only course you need to build a strong foundation for your spiritual growth for lifetime. And that course covers each and everything, starting from your spiritual awakening to your physical, mental, emotional healing. And I also cover things like meditation, hypnosis, past life regression, psychic abilities, and a lot of other things. So if you want to look at the curriculum, if you want to see what the course is, I'll put the link to my course in the description. You can take a look, and if that interests you, I also invite you to hop on to a Zoom call with me if you would like to discuss whether a private coaching will be better for you. So hop on to a free discovery call with me, and we can just get to know each other and see how I could be of help to you. And all the links are in my description, and I hope to speak to you soon. Thank you and have a nice rest of your day.